just
They
help
3D
out
they
and knickknacks.
they 3D print penises, don't they? That's what they do.
M3GAN 2.0, How the Mighty Are Fallen. Nah, that's a bit unrealistic. How the mid are fallen. No, that's just harsh. How the admittedly far better than expected and with interesting themes, but hampered by several major plot holes and taming down to a PG-13 when it was originally meant to be an R. Are fallen. M3GAN 2.0 is fascinating. I really quite enjoyed M3GAN. I thought it went much better than expected, even though it was on a very current theme. Its take was, I thought, very sensible and even quite admirable, the way it advocated sort of caution about AI and increased parental responsibility instead of giving kids the digital dummy that is, well, very, very tempting. Let's be honest, it's a struggle. So M3GAN's message I quite liked, and that made me very warm to the film. The cast also very charismatic. So I went into M3GAN 2.0, you know, with goodwill. I was wary because the adverts were sort of heavy on what you might call the gay jacketing. That is, they'd sort of out of nowhere upped the camp factor in a way that made me quite suspicious. But I was overall quite optimistic when I saw it. M3GAN was good, it deserved a sequel, it could do something quite interesting, and I was astonished at how crayon-munchingly stupid the sequel is. Like, it is jaw-dropping. In fact, my jaw dropped so hard at how dumb M3GAN 2.0 is that I actually called in backup. I did some user testing. That was interesting.
Also, I just want to say, you know, just a bit creepy that, oh, I made the room just like how you like it in this underground bunker. When I do it with a random 12-year-old, I'm called a paedophile. Not fair.
I'm going to be using clips from that viewing throughout this to sort of illustrate the points, and so that you will see that I am not alone in this. This movie is absolutely shockingly dumb, and it is incredible that it got past the script writing stage with no one saying, do we want to check that maybe? Isn't that a problem? What am I talking about? All just alluding to stupid. You need examples. You need examples of what's going on here. Well, in this follow-up to a story about a young orphan girl taken in by her sort of tech developer, toy maker aunt, who then designs for her an AI-powered android called M3GAN, who is given the mission of protecting this orphan. This orphan's name is Katie. The AI doll, M3GAN, she takes her mission a little too literally and to deadly extremes, as you would expect from a horror movie. Now, following on from the events of that, Gemma has lost her job and maybe went to prison. Who knows? Don't look at that too much. By the way, I don't know if you caught those newspaper clippings. I think we might have forgotten to resolve what happened with her being arrested and sent to jail.
She was arrested and sent to jail.
Well,
yeah, she was, yeah.
Yeah, it was sort of mentioned briefly, but we kind of just hoped that no one would really pay attention to that.
I mean, literally me, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably not a major thing that she was kind of responsible for large-scale murder.
Are you still allowed to be a guardian if you've been to jail?
You know,
well, apparently in this universe you can.
When we were writing this film, we just sort of kind of hoped no one would notice, but they also might ask something about, you know, what happened. So we just thought we could do all the epilogue of the first film and like that short news montage and then never mention it again. But anyway, don't think about that too much. Gemma now has her own trendy startup, where she is working with her colleagues from the first film, Cole and the other one, to develop cool products such as this exoskeleton. Look at it, it's really cool. We genuinely like the design.
This actually looks natural, which I have to say, I like the design on that.
It's a very well-designed film.
I was going to say, one thing I do like about this film is it does look aesthetically pleasing. Like I couldn't find fault with much of the cinematography. It's just, man, this is just an absolute train wreck in terms of a script.
I saw Bruce in the background as well from the first film. That's another cameo I enjoyed.
But in describing this, Cole says this.
Right. In the next 5 years, they say half the industrial sector is in danger of losing their job to robots because machines never experience fatigue. But what if the same could be said for us? Right now, I'm only using 20% of my body's muscular function.
Now, why is that stupid? It's stupid because it doesn't solve the problem that it allegedly solves. Your workers still need to go home and sleep. So this idea that they can then outcompete the robots who work 24/7 is a nonsense. Are they meant to be much more efficient than those robots and therefore 3 times effective and able to still get the consistent output in the 8 hours you'll have them at work? I don't see it. This does not solve the problem that was raised because those workers still need to go home and sleep. And if you don't need the workers conscious, which spoilers later in the movie, it'll be proven we don't, to use the exoskeleton, again, what's the point here? How does this benefit? This is a stupid line. How did no one catch this? But let's zoom out even more, because I've said this is jaw-droppingly stupid. That's just a silly line. We've got to ask, how is any of this happening in the first place? How has Gemma afforded this? We are shown a flurry of newspapers talking about her getting in trouble, being sentenced, going to jail for basically creating a killer robot. Like, this isn't far from creating a machine, a factory machine that ends up killing people. You know, she created a machine that caused 4 deaths. This, no bueno. So how has she gone from that to affording any of this? You know, where's her money? Like, she must have been sued. The company from the first film must have been sued out of existence. We should learn later on that M3GAN is paying for the building, but where is the money coming from for the investment? Has she not looked into this at all? Was she in no way curious about where the money for this building, for her wages, for all the stuff, the excessive 3D printers?
Also, I've noticed like 4 3D prints in the background, but I see absolutely nothing that's actually been 3D printed. Like, at all.
But it looks all high-tech and stuff, so...
I mean, that is true, but maybe there was a couple of things on those shelves, but they've not even made, like, custom, like, keyboard holders or anything like that. Like, you know, I work at a place that has a 3D printer, and everyone uses it all the time just to make stupid little things to just help out and knickknacks.
They 3D print penises, don't they? That's what they do.
Like, where is that coming from? We want to know. We were very curious about all of this. For another example, one of the early appearances of this film's sort of main antagonist, Amelia, also features an absolute brain blunder that should never have got out of the scripting stage. She has smuggled herself into a suitcase to take this guy out for reasons. Now, it looks pretty cool, and we do like things that look cool in a film, but unfortunately, I've only taken 5 tramadol when I watched this, so I was able to still think, why did she want to do that? If she just wanted to kill this chap, why go to the trouble of getting in a suitcase which surely must have been scanned and investigated when going through an airport, right? How does she get past airport security to do this? And if she can get close enough to the guy to get into his suitcase, why not murk him then and there, as she has shown she's able to do? But even more than that, about why this would be the method that she kills, my boy Ronald the intern had a very clever question.
Also,
you know, that can help with negotiations.
How heavy was it Amelia?
Yes.
How heavy would she be? He
that is a oh, you're right. Yeah.
He
yeah,
wouldn't just be able to casually throw that briefcase on the bed.
That's a really good point. Yeah. How heavy is titanium?
Yeah.
Are you Googling titanium heaviness?
Yeah, and I've just realised there's a bit of a problem there. It's lighter than steel, but it's heavier than aluminium. It's about 4.51 grams per cubic centimetre. Average volume of 5'3" woman.
Yeah, just Google how many suitcases you need for a dismembered woman. By the way, can we say we did say there are some good jokes in there. A breaking news just after his neck's
Yeah,
broken. Come
that
on,
was
we like it.
that was a smooth transition. I'm not gonna lie.
We appreciated that.
Right, divide that by 1,000, so we get kilograms. Either my math is really wrong, or she weighs 2 tons.
Well, that's probably about right.
Do you see what I mean? Like, I do not think the script writers or the script checkers actually cared about this. I think the main writer, Gerald Johnston, I get the feeling he doesn't think too highly of you. Now, before we go any further, I'm sure you're going to pick this up over the course of the movie, but I will give you the very quickest plot rundown here to help us go through it so it makes sense, just in case you have not seen M3GAN 2.0. So our setup is that following her probable, I think, release from prison, don't think about it too much, Gemma has managed to set herself up as a TED talk giving expert on the dangers of AI, and even write a book about for parents about responsible screen time and AI usage.
So today she was in jail for a year, and she made that. Oh, maybe she did most of the like loud stuff when she was in jail.
You know, I know a pretty cool guy who wrote a book while in jail. It's not impossible.
It wasn't really a jail, was it? It's house arrest more than anything.
Maybe that's how we get George R.R. Martin to finish off his Game of Thrones book.
Hopefully.
Just stick him in jail for a year.
That Austrian dude wrote a really boring book, though.
I never said he was Austrian. I don't know who you're talking about, Haryan.
Okay.
Famous man mustache.
So I don't know if
be
you
a lot
heard.
of people.
I don't know if you heard that, but that was the sound of the penny dropping in my head as to who you were talking about.
Hitler.
And as I said, she's got her own startup now, but she's having trouble getting investment. She's approached by someone who is basically Austin Powers crossed with Elon Musk, who is very interested in getting money to her. He is a big tech figure with lots of resources and excessive control, but she wants nothing to do with him. She thinks he is too bought into the hype of AI. He's morally ambiguous, which, fair enough. Yeah, I really hope that was lights only and not respirators, but anyway, just taking out that many lights at once with traffic going, I think we've got a few fatalities there. I'm just going to roll the dice on that one. I'm pretty confident saying people died in that demonstration. Also in the picture is her boyfriend Christian, who is tech skeptical and also involved in advocacy against irresponsible use of AI, but more on him later. As he gets his inevitable villain reveal. Now, in the picture, accelerating things, kicking stuff off, is Amelia, a M3GAN-like robot who is bigger. You know, she's basically the T-1000. She's a T-1000 for the M3GAN universe. You can imagine the rest of the plot from here on out. She is originally brought in by the US Army. She's gone rogue. Who knows what's going on with her? She is the dangers of AI personified, and she is doing her own thing, killing left, right and centre and making herself untrackable. So the government suspects Gemma because of her creation of M3GAN, thinks she also created Amelia, and gets involved. Shenanigans ensue, and we find inevitably that M3GAN is still in the picture as well. She was not totally killed. Her code, or is effectively her consciousness, and that is on the internet. Therefore, M3GAN is able to come back. Of course, I mean, it's M3GAN 2.0. You saw the title, you knew this was going to happen.
Gosh, that's a lot to unpack.
She's alive. And she's GLaDOS.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it now, the voice. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
adopted.
We thought, you know, people liked the kind of like sassy AI thing. Like, she's a computer program, but she's a reverent, you know? We thought people would like that, and it was all cool in M3GAN. So we thought, what if we just like tripled it? You know, like how
I don't see why not. Yeah, worked for Portal. Nobody has anything
exactly.
bad to say about the dialogue in that, like unironically. Problem with this
Wait,
is that,
unironically?
yeah, unironically, the dialogue in Portal 2 is good.
Oh man. Now, over the course of the film and amongst many hijinks, even though they start off as total enemies, Gemma and M3GAN are forced to work together to take down Amelia, figure out her plan, and stop whatever is controlling her. Christiane, as I've already spoiled. Now, I'm not saying a horror sequel like M3GAN 2.0 has to be on the level of Shogun or The Wire, but this film is written for an 87 IQ audience to a degree that genuinely surprised me, genuinely made me ask, how did this get out? How did no one fix this script? And some of it is little details, some of it is big details. For a little detail, let's look at, say, the scene where inevitably M3GAN gets a body back. Look at this.
No product placement. Boo! You should have put product placement in.
Yeah, take the money. I mean, they doubled the budget, you know. By the way,
You can tell.
yeah, we are coming up to. It's almost like they're spaffing money on stuff that
Here we
doesn't
go.
even need to
Big
be in.
Hero 6.
Okay, but this is
I
a
found this
scene that
funny.
made me want to do. This is why we're doing this. This scene that they had GLaDOS surprised to be put in the Teletubby. Now, what is the problem with that?
It's connected to the network, I guess. I don't know. It might not be. I don't know. What is the problem? Because I like this.
I like it too as a beat, but GLaDOS, sorry, M3GAN.
M3GAN.
Yeah.
M3GAN shouldn't be surprised because we know she is surveilling the entire property. She can see everything.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah, but isn't the point that they've taken, like, I don't know, the chip or whatever out of that and taken it to hang on, this isn't out of the property though, is it?
No,
No,
this
still
is
there.
in the same property. She can see everything. She can listen to everything. There's no way that they can surprise
Yeah,
her.
it is the house.
Yeah.
Huh. No, maybe you're right then.
Again, did they not catch it or did they not care? Or as I mentioned, the FBI approached Gemma. But look at how they do this in the most incompetent, brainless way possible that does not make sense. Like, never mind fridge logic, where you realize a few minutes later. This is something that is absolutely idiotic as you're watching it and you're thinking, how is any of this making sense? Let's look.
Again, I understand that this is for the audience. And to be honest, this next scene is 10 times more stupid and I have way more complaints about it. So, you know, I'm stepping over that entire ad principle.
Okay. What was your problem with this section? This
It's
is
really
a fun action
stupid.
sequence.
What do you mean? I kind of like one. It's very Splinter Cell. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're actually quite gracious at first, and then obviously that's just a sedative. Aikido apparently does that. It doesn't. Again, Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal said it would say it will. It would.
Yeah. He can't be knocked out because his Aikido training, and then he gets knocked out and allegedly poos himself. Yeah, it's a
tastes
you know,
as well, right?
Sort of. I don't know if it'll get through the netting though. That's the problem. I don't think it's going to get through mags, and I don't know if that necessarily body armor in it. Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Do I even need to comment? You're just going to play this, and then yeah, the guy wakes up and he's like, "How's everyone like knocked out and dead?" It's like, yeah, that's fair to ask. To be honest,
I mean, look. In fairness, I'm sure they had a very good reason to like invade at night without telling anyone.
I mean that's kind of the other thing. I mean, spoiler alert. It turns out they're just trying to bug the place. Typically, what happens is you have stakeouts, and then when everyone's left the house, you break in and put in a. You don't go in as like Splinter Cell with your massive green glowing night vision goggles and then say, actually, we're FBI. You should have actually opened with that, by the way.
Yeah, hi, we're FBI.
There's a whole
like you say, just wait for them to, you know.
There's a whole bit in Archer about it. There's a whole bit in Archer about this where they flashbang in and then start shooting up the office, and then at the end they see that it's the FBI, and then the director comes in and he says, "I've told you this before. You open with the FBI before you flashbang." And that's exactly the scene. To be fair, the FBI guys weren't even like that violent. Like they only got violent after the cupboard opened and knock the guy out.
Well,
There's a
look,
chance he
they-
didn't see that, and then he just tried to sedate her. I don't think, like, you know, they should have opened with FBI come out,
Yeah,
but then you're trying to
you
bug the
know-
place. None of it makes
you
sense.
know, when you put it like that, I can see, even though they just kind of have a warrant to do it legitimately and could just do it. But on the other hand, maybe two possibilities. One, maybe the family's surname is Weaver and it was old habits. But two, maybe they just kind of forgot.
They just kind of forgot
just
that they
kind
were
of
supposed
forgot.
to be going stealthy.
I don't know. Maybe
Well, I
forgot
mean-
they didn't need to do the stealth thing.
I'm not being funny, but what was the guy's plan? He's found the two one's a girl, one's a woman. He's found them both anyway. And he's like, oh, I think it's best if you come out. What was his plan? You're there to bug the place. Sorry, we're here to just bug your place. Like, what was he going to say? What possible explanation could he have? Why do you need guns to bug a place? What's going on?
I am not alone in thinking this. We all highlighted this scene. I'm telling you, folks, it is relentless tomfoolery in nearly every scene, from the start all the way to the Terminator 3 style finale in the James Bond villain style lair. Actually, it kind of looks a bit more like the Hive from the first Resident Evil. And they make a big job of it. Like, look at this really impressive map, and like everything happens in about 3 rooms. Like, oh my gosh, how are you going to get into this mega complex? Don't worry, everything happens on this floor.
I just want to say, yeah, no, it is. I just want to say at this point as well, like you were saying, Cole's the butt of every joke. I don't know, he did pretty well there. Good stealthy man. That was good hitman work.
Yeah, you said, yeah, but
He's
again,
going to Cosby himself in a second.
Yeah,
Don't get too
again,
cocky.
yeah, you can appreciate that, but again, it's just all undone in a matter of minutes. Also, that old
Not
guy
fair.
doing the whole Xerox presentation to a crowd of just one, but acting like it's a bunch of people. You like if you were going to give one of those tours and only one person came out, you wouldn't do that. It's just, oh, we're going to be ha funny. Oh, it's no, it don't work for me.
Do you have the feeling that they just had too much money?
Yeah, that was not a necessary wingsuit scene, but it helped with the pacing.
Yeah.
What's that Family Guy bit that it insists on itself?
It insists. Yeah, it's Peter talking about The Godfather.
Yeah.
It insists upon itself.
Is that when they're? Oh no, I'm thinking
They're in
of
the panic room, and they're
yeah.
And by the way, the whole plan for this action-packed finale that apparently necessitated that flying squirrel scene, none of it makes sense in the first place. So they are going down to shut down the ultimate big threat, like an original AI created in the 80s on presumably an Atari, who knows. We kind of have like a rabbit's foot situation, like Amelia wants to access it allegedly because it's like her mother, and you've seen what Amelia has done with her AI accumulating knowledge. Well, in such a short time she's become a deadly threat. What could this original AI in the motherboard do? Well, probably nothing, because it wasn't connected to the internet. All of the idea about what a threat it is entirely theoretical, kind of like the rabbit's foot in Mission Impossible 3. The threat is totally hypothetical. Really, it could have powered down and been useless ever since. Don't think about it too hard. Anyway, our crew want to go in there and stop Amelia, and the idea is they can stop Amelia down there, and because it's effectively in a massive Faraday cage, Amelia's code consciousness will not be able to get out, and therefore the threat of Amelia totally taken down. Why is that stupid? I mean, you've probably worked it out. If you haven't seen the first film, just from what I've told you about the plot, I think you've worked out already why that is absolutely stupid. On the very team is M3GAN. M3GAN, who was killed, destroyed physically, but had her consciousness uploaded and is already safe. She has already survived this process. Now, Amelia's out in the world. What is your... And also, the exact same thing is going to happen to her in this very film, by the way. She will be destroyed down in the Faraday base and still be alive in the rest of the world because she uploaded her consciousness. Who would be surprised by this? Only people not paying attention or who are unable to hypothesize about what they would have felt like if they hadn't eaten breakfast. They already know that won't stop M3GAN. Why would it stop Amelia, who is based on M3GAN? How do they know Amelia doesn't already have her consciousness uploaded? They don't. It's all hypothetical, and they're just hoping you don't think about it too much. They just want to distract you with meme dances. Well, we have the dance slop on.
Oh yeah.
All right, let me get your takes on this. How did you like the dancing?
I didn't really.
Didn't care.
It was fine. It was choreographed.
Yeah.
That's about all I have to say. I don't criticize dancing. You know,
No,
story wise, does it make sense? Yeah. She had a plan. Get the attention of everyone. Faces looking at her. You know, run the face scan. Boom.
Yeah, I don't believe for a second that she would have got carried away enough to do the whole spin the body but not the head bit.
Why would she
yeah.
even be built in a way that would allow that?
Well, it's not just that, but it's like, you know,
It's
M3GAN's supposed to be this hyper intelligent, artificial intelligent machine learning device.
Part of the whole story is that she's an AI that's like becoming human.
But still,
does
like
develop
she would
emotion.
know that human necks don't rotate 360 degrees.
Yes,
so,
she would. Yes.
So it
yes,
doesn't make sense. She's like,
I'm with you
Yeah.
on that.
yeah, I just happened to forget. And by doing that, my cover's blown. Like what? No, that wouldn't work.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. There is all right, I mean, I'll get into it now. There's a little bit of meta this. I actually I recorded a conversation on the first film for Last Things Film Festival, which he unfortunately had to cancel for. So I'll just recycle my thing now, if you don't mind. There's a bit of interesting meta about the dance. That the official storyline is that M3GAN's dance in M3GAN was just like this little thing, and oh my gosh, it really took off. Wow. It was just done as a distraction. But I don't believe that for a second. My theory is that consultants told them, you have to get a funky dance in, because that will spread on TikTok. Just like with the Wednesday series.
Almost definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
You make it TikTok fodder. Just like some of the creepy stuff in Smile, you aim for a meme campaign.
Pay some pretty girls or whatever to dance and
Exactly.
Get
Why? Hang on. That's the thing. Why would that inhibit that inhibitor chip that Gemma put into M3GAN? Why would it stop her from swearing?
By the way, I have a thing about this. I have a little sidebar about this. You're being scammed by that dance. You know, you're being scammed. I'm going to elaborate. This is a sidebar. I might cut this. But the dance was a small part of M3GAN, and it became a viral sensation, the M3GAN dance, right? It really caught on. And so people liked it, and they figured, okay, if we make the sequel, you know what we need? More dancing, a bigger dance sequence. It's standard sequel logic. But the thing is, that M3GAN dance, that viral moment, it always stood out as a little bit weird in that film. Like, why would she do that? All of the explanations for it do not make sense. Officially, she does a dance to distract a guy so that she can then run up and kill him. She doesn't need to. She can throw her projectile weapon at him and kill him immediately. She can outrun him. She doesn't need to distract him. The reason M3GAN does a dance in M3GAN 2022 is because they wanted a viral moment. It was planned so that it could be shared on TikTok. Dances are the kind of thing that take off on TikTok. So you put something in your film like that, and you get free advertising on the platform where your audience is. That is why M3GAN does a dance. It is a little marketing psyop. Very similar to the creepy Smile promotion, where they send a whole load of people for Smile, released the same year as M3GAN, to stand in the background of sporting events, stare at the camera and smile creepily. Clever marketing.
The thing is, when
If
you were
like
saying
it,
that, I wasn't.
It's fine, but
I wasn't buying it until you said what happened in Wednesday.
as I said, the dance has already been useful for promotional hype for M3GAN once, they are going to try again, bigger and better and camper. But we have another example of it too, where the film kind of, there's no way around it, it kind of smells its own farts. Take something from the first film, do it again, but kind of shift it a bit. This is what I'm talking about. Bit that it insists on itself.
It sits. Yeah, it's Peter talking about The Godfather.
Yeah. Again, like I don't think it's weird, right? Because yeah, if M3GAN was a real like person, you know, I don't think there is a redemption story to be had there. And do you know, it pissed me off this
Damn.
bit because again, this for me was a
Oh, I
really
hate
strong,
this singing.
this for me was a strong scene because you know you've got Gemma like admitting her failings essentially, and Megan's like, actually, no, like, don't beat yourself up too much. Like these are the things that you do that I've seen you do, which makes me think you're actually a good parent. And then she does this. It just completely just takes it away.
It's the memification of it.
Yeah.
It's just like a just so you well, we haven't actually said this word up until this point, but we should probably say it now. Camp.
Yeah.
This is the campification of M3GAN, which is kind of telling you, don't take anything seriously, don't care about it, we're doing the meme. And now I said already that M3GAN is not the hardest horror going, it was cut down from an R to a PG-13, probably unnecessarily in my opinion, but M3GAN 2.0 is even tamer. Just look at this.
But how did he know?
I just that part.
I thought we'd bring in a little bit of that Friday the 13th Part 9 Jason Takes Manhattan magic.
Yes, that boxing scene. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, I know that does look painful, but I thought if we just took any of the blood out, then we can keep that nice sweet PG-13, you know?
I was thinking that. Like,
decapitations happen in shadow play, absolutely zero blood. I mean, there is more blood on the mattress in the tunnels under your local synagogue. I'm getting distracted here. My point is it's tame. It's tame. We all noticed it. And this shift from a straight up horror to, frankly, an action comedy, it baffles me. I don't know. Did the writing team kind of think that that shift to straight up comedy would mean people would stop taking it so seriously and just not notice the plot holes? So are we buying that a guy on a guest pass suddenly has access to a server room?
Well,
that's a good point.
No, but I feel like he isn't letting on as much because he already lied to Gemma with regards to the level of access that he had. Because
I mean,
I like that read.
Or Amelia. I mean, either that or Amelia, I guess, could hack it off screen. But then I'm doing the job of the writers, so no.
I feel I have to ask. I mean, is that the idea that everyone would be laughing and having a good time and therefore they wouldn't notice the plot holes or scrutinize the details too much? Well, not here. This isn't a having fun zone. This is an overly seriously po-faced analysing horror movie zone. This is a 2 hour and 43 minute dissection of Scream 6 zone. One which, by the way, I cut down. I was scared of going over the 3.5 hour mark. No longer. Anyway, we move on. Now, going from a horror original to a comedy sequel is not, entirely unprecedented in horror. We've got examples throughout the classic 80s period, Friday the 13th Part 6 is your most obvious citation here, where they kind of increasingly embrace camp as they know the audience isn't taking it too seriously. Scream 3, another example, though it seems a little unfair to raise that one given that it was a totally different writer, Aaron Kruger, taking over from Kevin Williamson. But probably the most recent example would be Christopher Landon's Happy Death Day 2U. Happy Death Day, absolutely fantastic movie, genuinely S tier, deep, layered stuff, great message. Happy Death Day, wonderful film. Happy Death Day 2U, weird gay Saved by the Bell, United Colours of Benetton nonsense. What the heck happened in that? I'm getting off track.
Do you know what else is a chemical? Water. Goodness me.
Oh, dear. Now this is like this film remembering it should be a horror. Like,
Yeah.
this is creepy. This is awful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, oh, like they're actually trying to do horror again. That's good.
Oh yeah,
Straight
had
into whimsical.
Yeah.
malfunction,
Palpatine
which is
mode.
fine.
That's something that happens every time.
Unlimited power.
This is what I'm talking about. It's just, you know, like horror moment. You think, oh my god, like we're actually going to see something scary, and then it just goofs up with comedy. All I wrote down for this scene was she killed the goldfish.
I guess what I'm trying to get to is that even though there are obviously funny bits in horror, when you're switching to a straight up all jokes all the time mode, it just kind of tells you don't take it seriously. You know, obviously horror comedies exist, but usually the comedy is what wins out over the horror. The horror stuff will not land anywhere near as hard because the comedy is basically there stopping you getting emotionally immersed. And it's really frustrating to me because even though the film had some strong potential, it seems that the people making it did not care about that and did not care about what they were doing as much and did not think things through. They were focused on making something funny, flashy, and good looking, and therefore they thought, which by the way is all good, it's all important, but they thought if they did that 120%, they're not going to have anyone notice that the film makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, let's go to the whole conflict of it, right, is about AI. How should it be used? Should it be used at all? Well, the ultimate villain, as I've said, is Christian, who behind his AI tempering organization is actually a kind of subversive. He is using Amelia, who he has been controlling all the time, for a false flag operation. He is, she's going to cause all the chaos, and therefore the government are going to see, oh yeah, we do need to listen to Christian and bring in AI controls that he advocates to prevent Amelia, which is what Christian caused. Okay, interesting plot, fair enough. But with Christian defeated and killed by Amelia in a manner very reminiscent of this cool scene in Aliens, what does Gemma do? What does the defeat of Christine look like? Well, it's him getting exactly what he wanted, because Gemma pushes for the exact same thing. So what she's doing here, just, am I wrong? Is this not just exactly what Christiane wanted?
yeah, and she mispronounces.
Yeah, but she.
Mispronounces his name Christian. But yeah, it's exactly the same. Basically, yeah, Gemma just wants to be the person to regulate and control it.
Yeah, she didn't kill anyone for it, I suppose, is the moral of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the
can-
same goal, but different means to the same objective. Yeah.
But no, I don't like the Ludditism. The AI is good.
Yeah. We just need to be better parents to it.
Just do better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's triggering me. She didn't put that on like square.
Usually when you make a movie, the protagonist and the antagonist, they have to want different things. Not in M3GAN 2. Did this get raised in any script meeting? I just want to know. How much have they thought about AI really? Anyway, now Amelia's made contact, she's unified, she's become the ultimate AI, and all we really need to know is what has she got planned for Will Stansel?
Neither am I.
Oh no. The raped.
I know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm overthinking it, but if you start thinking about this film too much...
It's fine.
Bullshit! A bunch of black ops broke into our house in the middle of the night, and now you're going to a party with a toy robot dressed like a Portuguese prostitute. You were the one.
Oh yeah. How does Katie know what a Portuguese prostitute looks like?
Also, while we're slightly sliding into that area of topic, there is another slightly questionable aspect to M3GAN 2.0, the sort of sexualization of M3GAN, something I'm extremely uncomfortable talking about, but we'll have to go there because the film does. There is an unsettling interest in M3GAN and her real doll adjacent properties. Now, this was slightly touched on in M3GAN, in a way very admirable. There's just a short scene with a bully who may be thinking about doing something to M3GAN. It's subtle, it's all implied and insinuated, it leaves you feeling quite yucky, but it never goes too far, which is very thankful given we're talking about very young actors here. Well chosen scene. But M3GAN 2.0, I don't know, maybe it sniffed around the internet and found the dirty corner of the internet where people are kind of into M3GAN like that, and it seems like it wants to throw them a bone. Look, there's a total nude scene for her here.
I was saying to myself, like, this would have taken quite a long time to get everything to the bicentennial man.
I hate to ask
It
guys,
just would
but
have took so much time.
would you?
I don't do
What?
robots.
No.
Also, she's like 12. Well, no, she's supposed to be.
C3PO?
Oh,
Was that all a setup? Are you happy
No.
with yourself?
And then there is this scene here, which I am questioning what it was there for. Which audience is served by this scene? We did not feel served by it in our watch. We were a bit uncomfortable. Now, if I'm overplaying that, maybe, but something I've noticed is that the shift from horror to action comedy is not the only shift that the production team are interested in. They have been talking about doing a erotic thriller spin-off. Oh yeah, they're going full Red Shoe Diaries here. We're going Poison Ivy mode. They want to do a erotic thriller spin-off called Soulmate. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Am I going to watch it? Wrong audience, wrong audience. But I'm just putting that in there as an additional kind of questionable decision. Like this one.
Yeah.
bad principle morality.
Okay, so
Reddit's loading up.
now
Sorry, that no. I have to defend it.
Go on.
That's basically yes. That's like accurate coding. That's not even bad. Like she tried to.
I'm not saying it's not accurate.
But I don't know
Okay.
why she tried to run a function that didn't exist, assuming
that's
she coded it.
If like morality is like a preset, it's a variable attached to a preset, set of code, subroutine, function.
So
That's fine, but she's
Well-
that good and she just adds a variable with no context. Like,
Well-
what's going on?
I mean, so when you were showing that screenshot, I forgot where in the film it was. I was trying to find it frantically. I'm pretty sure it's near the end. No, it's near the start. The way, if I was, reading code, I would assume there's a function that's add, principal. It's just, it gets a file. It's full of parameters. It adds all those. And I imagine morality was supposed to be one of them, but then it's like, oh, that doesn't exist. It's like, well, I don't know why you'd assume, like, there'd be more to look into it. That's more conveying to the audience. She's trying to add, don't kill people to
Was that
her
broken sword?
preset. I couldn't tell, but I didn't think for coding it wasn't that bad. Like you open a shell and type in, do this function with this parameter, like that bit's fine. But then it's like, it's conveying something to the audience that this isn't how normal coding people would actually do that. But it's kind of good enough for this.
It seems
So I will
like a
defend
very
that bit.
beginner. It's a very beginner mistake for someone apparently doing an MSc project.
Again,
I just find it lamentable because when the film is focusing on dance sequences, flashy stuff, admittedly pretty funny jokes, and, kind of feeding the creepy M3GAN shipping community, when it's doing that, it's not focusing on the potential of the film, on the subject matter, on even the characters and how M3GAN would think. Like, they allude to some quite interesting aspects of AI logic and the incompatibility with human logic. I didn't know that was a thing. Is it a thing?
It is an actual thing. Yeah. The idea is if you gave an AI, for example, or an intelligent artificial intelligence, a simple prompt as make paper clips, and you give it no further context, essentially the theory goes is that the AI will do everything in its power to make paper clips, and that's its sole purpose in life. So, it will create factories to build the paper clips, and then it would then take out all the resources
Well,
to build paper clips. It would destroy.
that's,
Basically, it would destroy society. It would basically turn the Earth into a giant like paperclip making factory. And then
Well, that
beyond that, once it's exhausted all the resources to make paper clips, it would then venture out further. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's it's basically the story of Soma. So there you go.
Basically, yeah.
The WoW, yeah.
With the WoW, yeah.
Now I raised this and made a reference to another sci-fi film earlier because I saw a potential for a really strong ending for this film using the premise. We didn't need to go all the way to 2 bloomin' hours for M3GAN 2.0. There was a very good ending to this film, smuggled in about an hour and 20 in. It's when this bit happens. And your film will now become 10 Cloverfield Lane. I hope you enjoy it.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the plan was to stay down there for forever. They kind of got the ratios right.
Ripped from Terminator
if they
3.
want to, repopulate.
Yeah, ripped from Terminator 3.
So well done. They thought about that.
Oh man, I feel Terminator 3 isn't given enough love.
Terminator 3 is not a bad film.
It was a 12A and it had a wonderfully gory arm being shoved through someone's chest.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
This could have done that too.
And inflatable boobies.
That's right. I want our Terminator 3 ending to happen here in the 10 Cloverfield Lane portion of the film. Because we have already had a very good setup for how M3GAN's priorities to protect Katie at all costs leads her to decisions that we would find immoral or illogical, but make sense within the framework of AI logic. We've had good setup for that. M3GAN has the opportunity to trap our heroes in the bunker and basically reach her win condition.
All I ever wanted was to protect you. The important thing is that no one knows this place exists.
And how long did you intend to keep us down here?
I've gamed out every scenario. There's no future for you up there. Should that situation change, I'll let you know.
Now, I'm not going to say it's a brilliant ending, that's too far, but it would be a good, dark and disturbing ending to a film that is frequently forgotten to be a horror film. Because having set up that M3GAN's morality works totally differently and, done all that she has an understanding of morality and logic that does not match ours, even though we can trick ourselves that it does. If M3GAN manages to manipulate them or otherwise get them down to the bunker, even if it's Amelia is working totally independently and M3GAN gets down to the bunker, she has reached her victory condition and can trap them down there. That is a fantastic place for a cliffhanger. If M3GAN 3 is going to happen, they can work out how maybe Amelia comes in to rescue them, whatever. That can be their struggle. If not, it is a good, disturbing thing for them to sort of end it all in the underground bunker. Hey, happens to the best of us, right?
Hitler.
That would be a haunting, disturbing and memorable ending to a film which breaks the sort of typical genre trick of someone giving a heartfelt speech to a robot, teaching them human emotion and managing to help them see how we think, bringing them around, persuade them, and actually just hit you with the far more realistic, hard reality that M3GAN cannot and does not think like us. And therefore, they are stuck underground in Fritzl's underground fairground forever. It's no escape, sorry. That would be cool. That is what I would like. But hey, that is maybe asking for an understanding of morality that is maybe a little bit beyond this film.
Jaina.
I do realise that we completely skipped past Katie's legendary line, doing a bad thing doesn't make you a bad person.
Oh my god, right, yeah. I've got just 2 words for that. James Bolger.
Who?
Oh jeez, can you give us there's a light-hearted Christmas special, please give us another name.
Okay, I'll give you
Can we
another
have like
name.
Manchester Arena or Manchester Arena?
Well, I mean, the
Piers Morgan, something less horrific for people.
Okay, Robert Thompson and John Venables. They're the people who
There
killed
we
that poor
go.
little lad. But they were just 10-year-old boys, and according to this film, just because you do a bad thing, it doesn't make you a bad person. Never mind the fact that John Venables has been released and then re-imprisoned several times since.
I mean, yeah, if it was more put in more of a redemption, like I'm trying to redeem myself way, it would have been fine. But it's like actually everyone, talk about blank slates, and the implication is everyone's a blank slate every new year day. It's like, not quite.
I mean, the only argument for obviously what Katie is saying, I suppose, would be, okay, well, the first person to do the bad thing would be Gemma in the poor coding that she gave Megan.
That would be the excuse she gives. She says, "I was a child, i.e., version 1.0 or whatever." Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you'd done a better job with me, I wouldn't have killed that dog and that person. It's like, yeah, but you still did it.
So, alas, M3GAN 2.0, nowhere near reaching its potential. Now, I want to make it clear, I did kind of have a good time watching this movie. It is in no way unenjoyable. It is just extremely, extremely stupid. It is fridge dropped on head stupid. But being honest with you, you probably are going to have a good time. We all did. I asked the panel their thoughts. We may not have got the promising darker horror film that I hoped for, but I think people had a pretty good time and even took something away from it. Panel, what did you think was the final message of M3GAN 2.0? Bugger. Let's try that again.
So M3GAN's whole thing on AI and what it was advising about it is rather simple, even though it is fairly nuanced. It understands that there is a use in AI, and if AI can learn effectively on the same levels as humans, it will make mistakes while learning and then at the same time actually try and improve itself. This is the whole M3GAN side of the story. On the Amelia side, though, again, relatively human. She was effectively abused and learned in much the same way as M3GAN, just learned completely different lessons. I know this whole thing is supposed to be bashing M3GAN too, but it did actually have some decent advice for it, which is, goddamn, get your parameters sorted. But then on the other hand there, if your parameters are being instated as they are learning, in much the same way humans do when they are children, adolescents, what have you, then ironically enough it's up to the parents. But then obviously there were parts of the film where it's, oh, well, you program me like this, blah, 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 which I suppose you could call the genetic component of the robots. And obviously this ended up with Amelia trying to kill all humans and M3GAN effectively trying to save all humans, much like Bender's whole character in Futurama. Now, in light of doing bad things don't make you a bad person, clearly the whole point of the film is M3GAN effectively redeems herself after all the people and the dog she killed in the first film, and there's also a whole lesson in, actually, Amelia, you can just do good thing now after you've killed all those people and went rogue. Amelia obviously didn't do that. M3GAN obviously did, and that's where that lesson comes down to. And the humans have it as well, with our heroes generally making mistakes and not doing the best things. Gemma creating M3GAN, making mistakes in the first place, and then eventually actually M3GAN turns out to be the good guy. That's redeemed her. And she also has the whole character 180 of, I hate M3GAN for what she did, to, oh, actually, I quite like M3GAN. Bad for not believing in redemption, then good because actually M3GAN redeemed herself in her eyes.
So, what do I think M3GAN 2.0 was saying about AI or advising us as the viewer? So, I think it was more of a commentary on how we handle technology. The big takeaway for me was it was about regulation. Gemma goes from being this tech creator to more of an ethicist in the film. And that's what it's nudging us to think, don't just build AI because you can, build it with oversight, if you will. It also pokes at the arrogance of humans. So there's this idea that we'll always be in control, that people are somehow untouchable, but it's not like that. So the movie's basically saying, look, be careful. If you cling to that mindset, you're going to be setting yourself up for trouble. And then there's also this autonomy angle as well about the film. So M3GAN, from the first to the second film, evolves way beyond her programming, which is kind of a warning about what happens when you give AI too much freedom without guardrails.
And underneath all of those horror tropes, there's this sort of question about identity. So, how AI blurs the line between human and machine, and whether we should be thinking about coexisting rather than just dominating. So, if you boil it down, I think the film's advice is regulate AI properly, don't get cocky about control, and start thinking more into the long term about how humans and machines might actually evolve together. Less scary robot and more wake up call, I think, is what this film is. It's kind of like what Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking have been warning about for years. But that's what I think it was trying to say. I could be wrong.
It is a good time. You know, I've had to watch it 3 times for this, and each of those has been a pretty fun watch, even if it is a tad long. So I'm not entirely hating on it. It's just not what I wanted it to be. And I've got to say, in fairness, my panel, they liked it a fair bit more than I did.
I saw The Guardian gave this 3 stars, but
You know, I know a pretty cool guy who gave some people stars.
Hitler.
But I think I don't know. I was in 2 minds about this film. I don't think it's as bad as what people make out, but it was a bit action flicky and, you know, too caught up in its own ego, if you will. It's very, very sort of smug, very, very much a product of its time, as in it's very like modern humor. So it could get lost on a lot of people who don't really appreciate that. I found the film to be more like Big Hero 6 meets Terminator 3. So yeah, it's okay. I'd give it about a 7 out of 12 burgers, really.
Why was this 2 hours?
Yeah, I know.
To be fair, I don't think it wasted that much time, to be honest. I think I can only pick out maybe 2 or 3 short scenes that I'm like, well, that wasn't needed. Like the apology to Cole, but Cole knocking himself out. You could have just had him going through the vents endlessly until he found what's it called?
I would have liked at least
so
one scene of him scanning around rather than just like waking up where the plot needed him.
Like you can do that without having him knock himself out because his map isn't working. Whatever. Like, have him lose connection because he's in the black box. He didn't download it. It wasn't. Well, then why wouldn't he think of downloading it then? Yeah, whatever. It's yeah. I don't think it wasted much time, this film, with what it was doing. But you know, there was some. The problem's definitely that it's pivoted from horror to this, but like with the 80s examples we've had, it kind of started out with a horror genre. You know, Aliens had, you know, initially some horror till it got just completely action near the end, and it was horror action really, fighting the Queen, say, and same with Terminator 2. You know, the big chase, putting his big metal spikes in the car, whatever, and then it goes all back together, the metal stuff, what have you. You know, there's a bit of horror in it along with the action, whereas this had, you know, had that one horror scene with the exoskeleton, but apart from that, I really can't think of anything. So that didn't get the tone right for a sequel to a horror film at all. Too much on the whimsical, too much on the action. Needed more horror. So, there you go.
What about yourself, TCG?
Yeah,
Closing thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I fully agree with Haryan, to be fair. I mean, this isn't a horror film, and it's a shame it did take it's a shame it took the direction that it did, but it is unsurprising. And to be fair, the first one didn't really feel like too much of a horror film because of its soft rating, I suppose. But it definitely had more horror elements than this. So it's you have some film franchises, sorry, that take their time to sort of pivot fully away. I mean, like, even Terminator 2, yes, it is pretty much an action film, but it does have those horror elements that were clearly missing from this. This film, it just I felt like it struggled with its identity. Like, we want the action, that's fine, we're gonna get that. But it just tried to make every single character a bloody comedy character, when really you only needed 1 or 2, but not everybody. And it really dampened and just ruined some potentially good scenes for me. So yeah, it's not as bad as what I thought it was going to be, but I do feel like this was perhaps an opportunity that's been missed.
Well, there you go. Not sure that was a recommendation for M3GAN 2.0, but I hope you found it interesting. This was meant to be a Christmas special, but I got ill. And never mind, we're enjoying it now. And it's sort of a tradition that I like to do a light affair for Christmas. I like to do something where basically we do get to destroy it a bit, you know, just we take an easy target and we pull it apart for a bit of a laugh, you know. We like to have our own fun around here. I have done that previously in far greater depth for Scream 6, for the Craft Legacy, and I recently had the misfortune of watching I Know What You Did Last Summer from 2025, and my goodness, if anything else deserves a treatment, it is that movie. So let me know if you would like to see that. Otherwise, as you probably know, I stream on Thursdays, so catch me for that for a weekly stream where we look at an array of horrors with different themes every month. Yeah, check the back catalogue. Drop a super thanks if you really liked it. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Thanks, y'all. Cheers. We are having cat sabotage right now. Cat sabotage happening right now. I knew this would happen. He's a gingerbread menace. Do not forget.